Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Today is Thursday, October 17th, and we're coming off a very entertaining, imperfect but entertaining Penguins win 6-5 over the Buffalo Sabres at PPG Paints Arena last night. I was there. I'm going to talk a lot about that, as well as some of the milestones achieved with Sidney, Crosby, Evgeni Malkin, and some early season Penguins thoughts. First, want to remind you that we are brought to you by Edgar Snyder & Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder & Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with insurance companies, Edgar Snyder & Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. All right, so the end result looked great. 6-5, Penguins won, continuing their relatively strong start to the season. But kind of look inside that, wasn't the best performance from the Penguins, and they certainly admitted that. Went up to Lars Eller after the game, who is very honest in his assessment. He said, quote, "We're not going to win a ton of games playing like this," and I would happen to agree with him. Plenty of things lacked. Tristan Jarry was pulled, allowing 3 goals on 5 shots. Erik Karlsson was, I don't know. That was a interesting performance, to say the least. But you know what? The Penguins won, and a large reason they won was because of Sidney Crosby and Evgeni Malkin. Absolutely incredible performance by both of them. Totaled 7 points. Evgeni Malkin scored a goal from his butt. Sidney Crosby scored the winner at 1:38 of overtime. Crosby with a couple just ridiculous passes from behind the net. Another goal that could have been was waved off because of goaltender interference. And one of those Crosby passes, probably the best of the night. Just a highly entertaining hockey game. I've covered a lot of games at PPG Paints Arena, and this one is right up there, at least in terms of the regular season. And to me, it's what the Penguins can and probably will be this season. Imperfect, incomplete, whatever you want to say. I'm not thinking this team is built for a Stanley Cup run. Who knows, though? You get in, you can surprise some people. Easy for me to say. But, defensively, sorting out coverages, allowing odd man breaks, certainly some things to work on. I think Mike Sullivan used the term, maybe after Montreal, maybe after last night, whatever, as they build their game. And I think that's appropriate. They're building their game. It's not there. I wouldn't expect it to be there this early in the season, but they can score. The power play was occasionally okay and occasionally very, very bad. That's going to need to be something clearly that is a weapon for them and not so much a hindrance. But a lot of what I wrote about in my column was Evgeni Malkin and Sidney Crosby, their relationship, how they push each other. They pushed each other and challenged each other and the team last night. Tough performance, and they willed them to victory. And sometimes in sports, I don't know, the Chicago Blackhawks kind of come to mind as somebody with a cluster or a cluster of guys that, once proud and they did some things, but, then it just all sort of disappears. And I don't see that happening with this group. I don't know if they can connect the dots between where they were and where they need to go. That's a very tough ask of Kyle Dubas, trying to get younger, trying to do all this stuff on the fly while still maximizing how long they have these guys. I hope they do. It's more entertaining and it's better for all of us if they do. But I don't think it's going to be because Crosby, Malkin, or Kris Letang, if there's any sort of decline in their play. No. We've talked plenty about Sid, 94 points in 82 games last year. There's absolutely no concern whatsoever about his game. Same thing for this season. I guess there could have been some concern about Gino, but I want to talk about his evolution for a second because I think it's really, really important. I think you can maybe look at Gino and some of the knee issues that he's had and talk about, he's lost a step. He's not the same player. He can't take over a game. He doesn't get that signature gallop going, something like that. I don't care. I don't need to see that. What I need to see from Malkin is what we've seen so far this season, and it was personified last night. He was excellent. Mike Sullivan was asked about Evgeni Malkin's game afterward and said the difference to him is stopping on pucks. That's a phrase Sullivan uses, being more efficient with his skating, basically. Not skating past things, not trying to overcreate, realizing what you are. I wrote in my column that it's basically admitting that, yeah, he's 38, but like that's still very good. He's still a surefire Hall of Famer, a top 100 player, however you want to say it. Evgeni Malkin has long been a dominant force, probably never given the amount of respect that he deserves because he's on the same team as Sid and attention tends to go elsewhere. But to overlook Malkin is flat out silly. And then you're telling me this guy at 38 can have the type of performance that we've seen so far. 11 points this season, most in the NHL. I believe it's the best start to a season Gino has ever had. He's got some line mates next to him. I like what Ricard Raquel has done. I like what Michael Bunting has done. Honestly, the composition of their top 9 right now is not terrible. Drew O'Connor, this is something else that Mike Sullivan talked about, scored last night. Scored a very pretty goal, I might add. 2-on-1 with Nola Chari, keeps the puck from the right circle. Very good. Exactly what you want to see. Can play top 9 minutes, can play on the top line with Sid. Can also add an element of scoring on the third line. The line with Lars Eller and Jesse Puljujarvi, that was very good. Puljujarvi scored last night. He's had a strong start to the season. What we're talking about, though, is balance. And the Penguins have not had that with their forward lines. I don't know if this is going to stick, but I like the possibilities I've seen through a couple of games. And maybe it starts with Evgeni Malkin playing a bit of a different game, a more conservative game, a smarter game, a more mature game. We saw Sid do it, and now it seems like it's Gino's turn. All right, have another Penguins topic I want to get to on the other side, as well as maybe a little bit of pit talk. If we get there, we'll see. But the Penguins topic I want to get into is kind of meaty, so it might take the rest of this podcast. We'll see. But first, I want to take a short break with a message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Maybe we'll find it. Here it is.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
Welcome back to First 10. We're here every morning, about 10 minutes, about 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Appreciate you finding us. I'm your host, Jason Mackey. The goaltending situation is less than clear and less than good at the moment. Tristan Jarry, I think, has entered concerning territory. The goals he allowed last night were ugly. Maybe you can say that only 2 of the 3 were his fault, but at the same time, I think your goaltender is expected to make a save. Jarry did not do that on opening night against the Rangers, did not do that last night. Mike Sullivan stuck with Jarry against the Rangers, not so much. And I think it was the absolute right call to pull Jarry when he did. The team was not responding to anything, but Tristan just did not look good. Handling the puck behind his own net in the first. Early on, this was the first shot of the game. Flubs it and gives up a goal to Tage Thompson. Just very shaky, very jittery, and I don't know what you do. I honestly don't. I left the arena last night having this thought. Alex Nedeljkovic is going to be back very soon. Could be back Friday night against Carolina. Entirely possible. Do you send Joel Blomqvist down? Blomqvist? One of the two. Blomqvist, actually. What do you do there, though? I want him up here. I don't know, witnessing what he's done through at least 3 games so far, what does he have to gain in the American Hockey League? To me, it looks like his development should happen at the National Hockey League level. And he might be able to help the Penguins win. That's why Mike Sullivan went with Blomqvist on Saturday against Toronto. He was the goalie most equipped to help the Penguins win. Right now, if you're going to use that, which Mike Sullivan does, to make out his lineup, I don't know if it necessarily includes him as your number 1 goaltender. Like, you're still paying Alex Nedeljkovic money. You brought him in here for a reason. You leaned on him late last season. He's healthy. You're going to play him. But I don't know if you can play Tristan Jarry right now. I'm at least going to kick the can ahead to Friday, and if Ned is good enough to come back, I'll probably play him. I'm not sending out Blomqvist. Does that mean you carry 3? You might have to. Does Tristan Jarry's hamstring feel a little bit funky? I don't know. I mean, rules are different in the NHL versus Major League Baseball. If this was Major League Baseball, this would be a time for one of those phantom, 10 or 15-day IL stints to get right. Not quite the same, but Jarry looks shaky. And I wrote before the season, I expected a big year from him, and it still could happen. I'm not going to overreact to, 5 games at this point or something like that. I mean, it's way too early to start having those thoughts on October 17th. But not good so far. And the Penguins right now, what's the old cliche? You can't win the division early on, but you can lose it. You don't want to see the Penguins lose this. They need better goaltending. Look how they responded last night to Blomqvist after he came in and actually made a couple of stops. Penguins did not make life easy for him, by the way. 3 breakaways in the second period. The Penguins were not good defensively. They have some things that they need to tighten up. But Blomqvist gave them a chance by making key saves. And I don't think you can go away from that. You want to get Tristan Jarry right. That's the long-term goal. But you're managing the long-term with the short-term. And right now, the short-term is probably getting Ned involved and continuing to play who gives you the best chance to win the game on Friday night against Carolina. So has something to do with Ned's health. But I would not be turning things over to Tristan Jarry just yet. I'm going to need to see more practice and need to let this evolve a little bit because it did not look good last night. All right, we're going to get to some Pit Hoop stuff. I will save that for tomorrow. Maybe we'll do that in the front half of a Q&A episode, but I want to talk a little bit about their team, their prospects going into the season with the ACC preseason poll coming out this week. I ran out of time. Oh, well, thank you for checking us out. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can get this and a bunch more content from our Post-Gazette team on our North Shore Drive YouTube channel. Thanks for watching First 10, everybody. Talk to you on Friday.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.